The night was silent. Snow fell softly across the prairie. The wind whispered through the trees. It was the kind of cold that settled in your bones. Little Sam huddled closer to his mother. Her face was pale. Her lips cracked from the chill. "Mama?" he whispered. His mother tried to smile. Her hands shook as she held him tight. "I'm fine, baby," she said, though her voice wavered. Sam knew the truth. He had seen the way her legs trembled, how she leaned on the wall for support. He could not sleep. He had stayed awake all night, watching, waiting. Outside, the stars hid behind clouds. The only light came from the moon, faint and silver. The little boy made a decision. He could not watch his mother suffer anymore. He grabbed her hand. Careful, silent. "Mama can't walk anymore." The words formed in his mind, a whisper to the night. He did not say them aloud. Not yet. They had been traveling for days. The wagon had broken. Food was low. And now the snow made every step dangerous. Sam's father had been gone, lost to sickness months ago. Mama had done her best, but she was weak. They needed help, and he knew where to find it. There was a cabin, a man, a cowboy who lived alone on the ridge. Sam had seen him from afar. Strong, quiet, capable. Tonight, they would go to him. He helped his mother up. She leaned heavily on him. He whispered, "I've got you, Mama." Step by step, they moved through the snow. Each breath came in clouds. Each footstep sank into the white. The cabin was small, smoke curling from the chimney, a warm glow from the windows. Sam's heart pounded. He knocked on the door, softly, nervously. The door opened slowly. A man stood there, tall, rugged, hat shadowing his eyes. The cowboy looked at the boy, then at the woman. "Evening," he said, his voice deep, calm. Sam spoke quickly. "Mama, she can't walk anymore. Please, help us." The man's eyes softened. He stepped aside. "Come in," he said. Warm air hit them like a blanket. The smell of wood smoke and cooked food filled the small cabin. Sam guided his mother inside. The cowboy helped her sit. "You're safe here," he said. "Rest." For the first time in days, Sam felt hope. Outside, the snow continued to fall. Inside, the fire crackled. A small family had found refuge. And the cowboy had no idea how much their lives were about to change. If you are still with me, friend, I hope you hit the subscribe button, so you do not miss what happens next. Grab a cup of tea or coffee. Settle. And tell me in the comments what time it is for you right now. And where you're listening from. The fire crackled in the small cabin. Sam's mother sank into the chair, her body trembling from exhaustion. He helped her lean back, adjusting the blanket around her shoulders. "You'll be warm here," the cowboy said softly. His voice carried authority, but also calm reassurance. Sam glanced around. The cabin was simple. Wooden walls, a small table with a few chairs, a stack of firewood neatly piled by the hearth. But it smelled like safety. "Thank you," Sam whispered. He did not look at the man directly, afraid he might disappear. The cowboy knelt beside him. "Don't thank me yet," he said. "You're not out of the woods." Sam nodded solemnly. He understood. He had been carrying responsibility for too long. The woman looked at the cowboy with tired eyes. I don't know how to repay you," she said, voice shaking. The cowboy shook his head. "You don't have to," he replied. "Just stay safe. That's enough for tonight." Sam's mother closed her eyes. She let the warmth from the fire seep into her cold body. Her hands rested on Sam's shoulders. He felt the tension in her fade slightly. The cowboy stood and moved to the small stove in the corner. He took out a pot of water, adding herbs and scraps of food. Soon, a simple broth began to steam. "Eat something," he said. "It'll help you regain your strength." Sam guided his mother to a plate. She tried to smile. Her hands shook as she picked up a spoon. Sam watched, heart aching. He could see the fatigue etched into every line on her face. She tried to keep her pride intact, but tonight, she had no choice. The children huddled closer, sharing the blanket. They whispered quietly to each other. Sam reassured his younger sister. "She's going to be okay," he said. "I'm here." The cowboy glanced at them. "They'll be fine," he muttered to himself. Outside, the snow continued to fall. The wind whistled against the cabin walls. Inside, there was warmth, safety, a strange, fragile kind of hope. Sam watched his mother sip the broth. Color returned slowly to her cheeks. "I can't remember the last time I felt this warm," she said quietly. The cowboy nodded. "No one should go without shelter on a night like this," he said. Sam felt a flicker of relief. He squeezed his mother's hand gently. They had made it. The night stretched on. Wind howled outside. The cabin stood strong. The fire glowed steady. And in that moment, Sam realized something. They were not alone anymore. The cowboy was there. The fire was there. And maybe, just maybe, help could last longer than tonight. The cabin felt alive with warmth. Sam's mother leaned back in her chair, letting the fire chase away the chill in her bones. Her hands rested on Sam's shoulders. He could feel her breathing slow, steadying at last. The cowboy moved quietly around the cabin. He fetched a thick wool blanket and laid it over her knees. "Keep her warm," he said simply. Sam nodded. He glanced at his little sister, who had curled against their mother's side. Her eyes were heavy, drooping with sleep. Emma, the youngest, was small and fragile, but she had a stubborn spark. The cowboy looked at the children. "Are you hungry?" he asked. Sam swallowed hard. "Yes, sir," he said quietly. "Good," the man replied. He went to the corner and stirred the pot. Steam swirled up, carrying the comforting aroma of herbs and broth. Sam guided his mother to the small wooden table. She took a spoon in her shaking hands and ate slowly. Every bite seemed to restore a fraction of strength. "You'll feel better soon," the cowboy said, his voice low but firm. Sam looked up at him. "Will you help us stay safe?" he asked. His voice was small, but full of need. The cowboy knelt to meet his gaze. "You're safe here tonight," he said. "Tomorrow, we'll see." The children huddled closer under the blanket. They whispered to each other softly, words of comfort. Sam held his sister's hand and rubbed her back gently. He had learned responsibility early. Tonight, he would not falter. The mother's eyes glistened. Tears threatened, but she blinked them back. She had been proud for so long. Tonight, she allowed herself to rest. The cowboy added more wood to the fire. The flames roared, casting golden light across the small room. Shadows danced on the walls, flickering like tiny, reassuring spirits. Outside, the wind whistled. The snow pressed against the windows. But inside, it was warm, safe, a fragile peace that Sam had almost forgotten existed. He looked at the cowboy. The man's rugged face softened in the glow of the fire. Sam didn't know his name yet, but he knew he could trust him. The smallest child, Emma, stirred and murmured in her sleep. Her tiny hand brushed Sam's arm. He held it gently. "I've got you," he whispered. The mother finally spoke. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely audible. "I don't know how I would have made it without you." The cowboy shook his head. "No need for thanks," he said. "Just rest. That's enough for now." Sam watched them. Hope began to bloom quietly in his chest. Tonight, they had found a place to rest, a place to heal, and perhaps, a place where their lives could begin again. The fire crackled steadily. Outside, snow continued to fall. Inside, a small family had found warmth. And for the first time in days, Sam allowed himself to believe they might survive the night. The night settled around the cabin. Outside, snow drifted silently over the prairie. The wind hummed against the walls, but inside, the fire glowed steady. Sam's mother leaned back in her chair, eyes closed. Her hands rested lightly on the table, still trembling from fatigue. She felt the warmth slowly seep into her body, chasing away the cold that had been her constant companion. Sam watched her carefully. He stayed close, making sure she was comfortable. Emma slept on her lap, breathing softly. Lucy, the middle child, curled up against Sam, eyes heavy with sleep. The cowboy moved quietly across the cabin. He checked the fire, added more wood, and ensured the room stayed warm. His face was calm, steady, and reassuring. "You're safe," he said softly to the family. "Tonight, nothing can touch you." Sam felt a flicker of relief. It was a feeling he had not allowed himself in weeks. The mother opened her eyes. "Can I sleep?" she whispered. Her voice was faint but hopeful. "Of course," the cowboy replied. There's a bed in the corner. I'll help you get settled. Sam's mother nodded. Sam gently helped her to the bed, guiding her small, weak steps. Emma and Lucy followed, clutching their mother's hands as they moved. The cowboy pulled the blankets over them all. He adjusted them carefully, ensuring each child was warm and comfortable. Sam watched silently, his heart heavy with gratitude. "You'll rest well tonight," the cowboy said. "Tomorrow, we'll see about food, work, and everything else." The children's eyes began to droop. The warmth, safety, and steady rhythm of the fire coaxed sleep into their minds. Sam's mother's head fell back onto the pillow. Her breathing became even, steady. Sam stayed awake a little longer. He watched the fire flicker. The shadows danced along the walls, moving like small, comforting spirits. He thought about the journey that had brought them here. The broken wagon, the cold nights, the hunger. And yet, here they were, alive and together. The cowboy sat silently in the corner, watching over them. He did not speak. He did not need to. His presence alone was enough. Outside, the snow continued to fall. The prairie lay quiet and vast. Inside, the small cabin held warmth, safety, and fragile hope. Sam finally allowed himself to close his eyes. He let go of worry, just for a moment. He let himself believe that they could survive this night. And perhaps, if the days ahead were kind, they could survive much more. The fire crackled softly. Outside, the wind moaned. Inside, a small family slept. And for the first time in weeks, the world felt like a place where they might belong. Morning came slowly. Sunlight filtered through the small windows of the cabin. The snow outside sparkled faintly under the early light. The wind had calmed. The world seemed peaceful. Sam stirred first. He blinked against the soft glow and looked around. His mother lay sleeping, her face relaxed for the first time in days. Emma still curled up on her mother's side, breathing steadily. Lucy stirred, rubbing her eyes, peeking out from under the blankets. The cowboy had already stoked the fire. Warmth spread throughout the cabin, chasing the lingering chill. The smell of coffee and simmering breakfast drifted through the small room. Sam gently shook his mother. "Mama, wake up," he whispered. She blinked slowly, adjusting to the light and warmth. "You're safe," Sam said softly. "I promise." She smiled weakly. "Thank you, Sam," she whispered, her voice hoarse. She swung her legs over the side of the bed and took a deep breath. The cowboy set plates on the table. Bread, eggs, and warm broth. He poured milk into small cups for the children. "Eat," he said simply. "Today, we make sure you have strength." The family sat together. Sam helped his mother with her breakfast. The children ate eagerly. Emma giggled softly when she spilled some milk. Lucy laughed and helped clean up the small mess. Outside, the prairie glistened under the sun. The snow reflected golden light. The rancher watched from the doorway, quiet and steady, his rugged face softened by the morning glow. Sam's mother finally spoke, her voice firmer. "I don't know how we'll repay you," she said. The cowboy shook his head. "You don't need to," he said. "Just live. That's enough." After breakfast, the cowboy showed Sam how to stack firewood properly. The children wandered the small yard, their laughter ringing like tiny bells. Sam's mother stepped outside carefully, testing her strength. The snow crunched beneath her boots. She paused and smiled at the bright winter day. The cowboy watched her with quiet approval. "You're stronger than you think," he said. Sam felt hope bloom in his chest. The night had been survived. The morning had come, and they were not alone. He looked at his mother, at the children, at the cowboy. For the first time in a long while, he felt a small sense of certainty. They could face the days ahead together. The fire burned steadily inside the cabin. The snow sparkled outside, and in that quiet, golden morning, the world felt almost safe. The day stretched on slowly. Sunlight filled the cabin through frost-lined windows. The snow outside had softened under the weak winter sun. Inside, the warmth of the fire and the smell of cooked food created a fragile comfort. Sam's mother sat at the table, sipping her broth carefully. Her hands no longer shook as badly. Her face had color again, though faint. Sam watched her closely. He had never seen her this calm, this steady. It gave him hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, they could stay. The cowboy moved around the cabin with purpose. He checked the fire, stacked more wood, and prepared simple meals. Sam followed him cautiously. He wanted to help. He wanted to prove he could be useful. "You've done well," the cowboy said, glancing down at him. "You're a good boy." Sam felt his chest swell slightly. He nodded, too shy to speak. His mother stood, still careful with every step. "I can help too," she said. "I can cook, clean, I can work." The cowboy paused. His rugged face softened. "You don't need to prove yourself," he said. "You've made it here. That's enough for now." Sam's mother hesitated. I want to make it right," she whispered. Her voice carried the weight of days spent running and worrying. Outside, the children laughed quietly, building small shapes in the snow. Emma clapped her hands with glee. Lucy ran to Sam with a makeshift snowball in her hand. The cowboy watched silently for a moment. "Tomorrow," he said, "we'll make plans. Food, work, shelter. We'll figure it out together." Sam's mother nodded slowly. Her eyes met his, and he could see the gratitude, the relief, and the exhaustion. They ate a simple lunch together. Nothing fancy. Just warmth, nourishment, and safety. Sam felt it in his chest, something he hadn't felt in weeks: peace. The afternoon passed. Sam helped his mother fold laundry and stack firewood. The cowboy taught him how to check the horses and feed them properly. By evening, the cabin felt lived in. The smell of wood smoke and cooked food lingered in every corner. The children huddled under blankets near the fire, tired from their first day of rest. Sam's mother finally sat back in her chair. She allowed herself a small sigh, a moment of relief. The cowboy leaned against the doorframe. "You've got a strong family," he said. "Stronger than you know." Sam smiled faintly. His mother's eyes softened. Emma yawned in her mother's lap. Lucy rested her head on Sam's shoulder. The fire crackled. Outside, the snow glimmered in the fading light. For the first time since their journey began, Sam felt a sense of hope that could last. They were not alone, and they had found a place where safety and warmth were real. Tomorrow, they would begin to rebuild. But tonight, they simply rested. The evening was quiet. The fire crackled softly, casting long shadows across the cabin walls. Sam's mother sat wrapped in a blanket, eyes tired but alert. Sam sat beside her, watching the flames, feeling the warmth seep into his chilled fingers. The children slept peacefully, finally safe. The cowboy stepped outside for a moment. His breath rose in clouds. He scanned the horizon. Snow blanketed the prairie, smooth and unbroken, except for faint tracks leading toward the cabin. He frowned. "Visitors," he muttered under his breath. Inside, the mother noticed his tension. "Is something wrong?" she asked quietly. He shook his head. "Just someone who might be curious," he replied. "Nothing to worry about, yet." Sam's small hand gripped his mother's. He could feel her tremble slightly. He whispered, "We're safe, Mama." The cowboy returned, closing the door with a firm hand. "I don't like surprises," he said, "but we'll handle it if they come." Hours passed. The wind outside rose slightly. Snow fell in heavier flakes, masking tracks and muffling sounds. Suddenly, a soft knock echoed against the wooden door. Sam's heart pounded. He froze. His mother gripped his hand tightly. The cowboy moved calmly to the door. He opened it a crack, peering out. Two men stood there, strangers, serious, their coats heavy with snow. "We're looking for travelers," one said. "Reported a woman with children near this area." The cowboy's face remained steady. "They're safe here," he said firmly. "No harm has come to them. They'll stay." The men exchanged glances, hesitation visible. The cowboy stepped outside slightly, keeping a steady stance. "They're under my care," he said. "You can check if you like. But they are not leaving." Inside, Sam's mother stood tall. The children peeked nervously from behind her. The strangers hesitated, then nodded. "Very well," the taller one said, "but we will be watching." They turned and walked back into the snowstorm. Their boots sank with every step. The door closed. The lock clicked firmly. Inside, relief washed over the small cabin. Sam's mother exhaled, tears brimming. "Thank you," she whispered. The cowboy nodded. "Nothing will take them from here tonight," he said. "Rest easy." The fire crackled, filling the cabin with warmth. Outside, the wind whistled, carrying snow across the prairie. Sam squeezed his mother's hand. For the first time in days, he allowed himself to relax. They had survived the threat. They had survived the night. And for now, the cabin was truly theirs. The children slept soundly. The mother rested, and the cowboy kept a quiet watch by the fire. Tomorrow would bring work. Tomorrow would bring decisions. But tonight, they had safety. And in this fragile moment, hope returned. The morning sun filtered softly through the cabin windows. Sam stirred first, as always, glancing around to see his mother and the younger children still sleeping. He rose quietly and stepped to the fire. The cowboy was already tending it, adding logs with steady hands. "Morning," Sam whispered. The cowboy nodded without looking up. "Morning. Quiet night, thankfully," he said. "Breakfast will be ready soon." Sam smiled faintly. He went to his mother, gently waking her. "Time to eat, Mama," he said softly. Her eyes fluttered open, weary but warm. The children yawned and shuffled toward the table. Emma clutched her mother's hand. Lucy rubbed her eyes, trying to stay awake. They sat together as the cowboy placed steaming bowls of simple breakfast in front of them. The aroma of warm bread and broth filled the small cabin. Sam's mother ate carefully, savoring each bite. The children followed, encouraged by the steady presence of the cowboy. After breakfast, the cowboy took Sam outside. "Help me check the horses," he said. Sam nodded, excitement and responsibility mingling in his chest. They worked together, brushing the horses, feeding them, and making sure the barn was tidy. The cowboy taught patiently, demonstrating each step. Sam learned quickly, eager to prove himself. Inside, Sam's mother cleaned and organized the small cabin. She arranged blankets, swept the floor, and prepared a fresh pot of tea. She felt useful again, her pride returning slowly with each small task. The cowboy observed quietly, approvingly. "This place is better with your hands in it," he said. "You belong here, just as much as anyone." Sam's mother smiled faintly. "Thank you," she said. "I never thought I'd feel normal again." Outside, the children played carefully in the snow, supervised by the cowboy. Emma's laughter echoed faintly. Lucy chased her older brother, Sam, who tried to keep pace. The prairie was vast and white, but here, under the cowboy's watchful eyes, it felt safe. By midday, the cabin hummed with life. The fire burned steadily. Food warmed on the stove. The family worked together, quietly forming bonds that had been broken by hardship. Sam looked at the cowboy. He met his gaze. There was trust there, simple and clear. He felt a glimmer of hope in his chest. The mother watched them from the window, wrapped in a warm blanket. For the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to breathe deeply. The fear that had weighed on her shoulders was easing. A new life, a new beginning, was taking shape before her eyes. The cowboy finally spoke, his voice low but firm. "You're part of this place now," he said. "Together, we'll make it through whatever comes next." The children laughed again, running through the snow. The mother smiled. Sam felt his heart swell. For the first time since their journey began, they were no longer just surviving. They were starting to live. The sun dipped low in the sky, painting the snow in soft shades of gold and pink. Sam's mother sat on the porch, wrapped in a thick blanket. The children played nearby, their laughter ringing through the crisp air. Sam stood beside her, watching, heart full. The cowboy approached slowly. He paused a few feet away, leaning against the porch railing. His gaze was steady, his expression unreadable. "You've done well," he said quietly. "Both of you. You survived the night. You're stronger than you know." Sam's mother looked at him, a mix of gratitude and uncertainty in her eyes. I don't know how to repay you," she said. Her voice trembled slightly, but there was strength behind it. The cowboy shook his head. "You don't need to repay me," he said. "Just stay safe. That's all that matters." Sam swallowed hard. He had learned responsibility quickly. He had carried fear and hope in equal measure. He wanted to say something, but words failed him. The cowboy's eyes softened as he looked at Sam. "You've got a strong family," he said, "and you'll need each other more than anyone else." Sam's mother reached out, taking his hand. "I choose to stay," she whispered. "I choose this, and him," she added, nodding toward the cowboy. The cowboy's lips curved into a faint smile. "Then we move forward," he said simply. "Together." The children ran closer, curiosity and excitement in their eyes. Emma held her mother's hand. Lucy clung to Sam, who felt the weight of responsibility in a new way. The cowboy knelt down, meeting the children's gaze. "You're safe," he said. "Nothing will take you from here." The mother watched, relief washing over her. Tears threatened, but she blinked them back. Hope felt fragile, but real. The sun dipped lower, and the sky darkened to shades of purple and blue. The first stars appeared, twinkling faintly above the snow-covered prairie. The cabin glowed warmly from within, a small beacon of safety in the vast wilderness. Sam took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the day lift slightly. For the first time in weeks, he allowed himself to believe they had a future. A future where fear did not rule. A future where his mother could rest. The cowboy stood, brushing snow from his coat. "Come inside," he said. "Night falls fast here, and warmth is important." The family followed, gathering around the fire once more. The mother wrapped Emma in her arms. Sam helped Lucy settle near the flames. The cowboy fed the fire with careful strokes, the room filling with light and warmth. Outside, the prairie was quiet, but inside, hope burned steadily. Sam's mother whispered softly, almost to herself, "Thank you for everything." The cowboy nodded, his gaze steady. "No thanks needed," he replied. "Just live, that's all that matters." And for the first time, Sam felt that the long, harrowing journey was truly behind them. They had a choice now, and they had chosen to stay together. Night fell softly over the prairie. Snow blanketed the land in a quiet hush. The wind whispered through the trees, but inside the cabin, warmth glowed steady and bright. Sam's mother sat near the fire, Emma on her lap, Lucy curled against her side. Sam stood nearby, watching the flames flicker. For the first time in weeks, their home felt safe. The cowboy moved around the cabin, checking the fire, adjusting blankets, ensuring the small family was comfortable. He paused and looked at them all, a faint smile softening his rugged features. "You're home now," he said simply. "Nothing will take you from here." Sam's mother's eyes glistened. She reached out, taking his hand. "I can't thank you enough," she whispered. "I don't know where we'd be without you." The cowboy shook his head. "No thanks needed," he said. "Just rest. That's enough." The children yawned, sleepy from the long day and the safe, warm surroundings. Emma nuzzled into her mother's chest. Lucy rested her head on Sam's shoulder. Sam smiled faintly, feeling the heavy burden he had carried finally lift. Outside, the snow sparkled under the faint moonlight. Stars twinkled in the clear winter sky. Inside, the cabin was alive with quiet warmth, laughter, and a fragile sense of belonging. Sam's mother spoke softly, almost to herself. "I never thought we'd find a place like this, a place where we belong." The cowboy nodded. "You belong," he said, "and we'll face what comes next together." He settled near the fire, keeping a watchful eye while letting them relax. For the first time, the cabin was not just a shelter, it was home. Sam looked at his mother, and she smiled at him. Her face was peaceful, strong, and full of hope. He glanced at the cowboy, who gave a subtle nod, a silent promise that they were safe. The fire crackled softly. The children slept, breathing steadily. Sam's mother rested, finally letting herself believe. Tomorrow would bring chores, work, and challenges. But tonight, the past had been left behind. Tonight, they had warmth, safety, and each other. The snow fell gently outside, but inside, hope and love burned brighter than the fire. Sam whispered to his mother, "We're going to be okay." She smiled and held him close. "Yes," she replied, softly, "thanks to him, and to us." The cowboy sat back, quiet and steady, watching the family he had taken in. He knew the journey ahead would not be easy. But for now, they were together. Together, safe. Together, home. And for the first time in a long time, the night felt peaceful. The cabin glowed against the snowy darkness outside. The prairie stretched endlessly beyond. But inside, a small family had finally found their place. The fire burned. The snow fell. And the cowboy whispered to himself, "Home at last."